the computer. All right, we are recording. All right. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for your interest in the Surge Academy Fellowship. We look forward to meeting you in person sometime in the near future. In the meantime, I hope that this information provides you with what you need in order to determine if the Surge Academy Fellowship is right for you, and hopefully also some of the questions you might have about how to apply. My name is Noemi Cortez, and I am the program director for the Surge Academy. Surge is a national organization that started in Chicago and now has programs in Oakland, Kansas City, and Indianapolis. I joined the Surge family last year to launch the Surge Academy in Kansas City, and am really excited to continue this movement and this work in Indianapolis. As the program director, I lead this work alongside our Vice President of National Programs, Rodney Thomas, who is here with me today.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rodney Thomas, and as the Vice President of National Programs, I joined Surge originally probably a couple of months ago in February, so pretty new. But as a member of the Surge community, you'll quickly realize that the fellowship is a foundational experience that is part of a larger effort to build a movement together in Chicago and nationally.
Thanks, Rodney. So here is our agenda for today. We have 3 goals in mind. The first, we really just want to walk you through a little bit about what the Surge Academy is in order for you to have a better understanding of what would be expected of you as a fellow, which is what we will also go into a little bit more in depth, what we expect of you as a fellow and what we also offer in the fellowship. And then lastly, one of the things that we will also do is provide you with some information about the application and the application process itself. If for any reason the presentation does not provide you with answers to all of your questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. Our email is academy@surgeinstitute.org. We will be presenting for about 20 minutes, if any of you needed to know that information. So let's get started. And I'll hand it over to you, Rodney.
Thank you, Rodney. So our work begins and ends with the success and well-being of youth of color. The Surge community wants to see these young people developing strong academic identities, equipped with the knowledge and skills necessary to enter and complete college. We want to see them thrive in all areas of their lives and meet their fullest potential, to be self-actualized, self-determining. We also want to see them prepared as leaders in the workforce and in their communities, civically engaged and committed to transforming society. And we recognize that it's all about them. So how do we intend to make this happen? We do it by empowering and uplifting leaders of color so that they're in a position at the table, as they say, to make the critical life-altering decisions on their behalf. So if we take a look at some of the data, this is data that's from 2013 from the National Center for Education Statistics. If you look on the left, it's the national data that shows that more than 45% of school-aged children were African-American or Latinx, but just 7% of our teachers, 6% of their superintendents, and 11% of school board members look like them. So this dearth of diverse leadership impacts decisions that affect our kids and our communities, and we need more leaders of color to be represented at the decision-making tables. Surge's founder, Carmita Samaan, recognized this disparity while serving in various senior leadership roles in education. Many times, she was the only one or few persons of color at the table whose story mirrors those of the students we serve. She often had to disrupt deficit language, work on behalf of and alongside communities whose views were an asset and who actually were marginalized within the particular communities in which we try to impact through education. Through these experiences, she realized that her life experience and perspectives were a strength and superpower, actually, and that more individuals like her needed to be represented at those decision-making tables. With this, she founded the Surge Institute and the Surge Fellowship. So through the Academy Fellowship, we train, support, and coach and elevate leaders of color, equipping them with the skills and knowledge they need to be game-changing agents for and with youth and families of our communities. Our program provides our fellows and alum with professional development, access to critical networks, and an increased ability to lead for equity in complex systems, navigate, collaborate, and build coalition. The fellowship support leaders across the spectrum of education and youth serving organizations. We have fellows and alum who are K-12 and higher education leaders and district level administrators, leaders in nonprofit youth and community serving organizations, social entrepreneurs, education researchers, and others working for education policy advocacy groups and philanthropic foundations. If you take a look here, these are the core program objectives that guide and inform every aspect of the fellowship experience. So Dream Big is really about much of the work of the fellows and how that's situated in complex and inequitable systems, institutions, and schools. We recognize that our fellows need to dream big and reimagine and recreate these systems when possible. This starts with the ability to be visionary and to organize, inspire, and lead others toward that new vision. The other piece that's super important for the design of the experience is focus inward. The Surge Fellowship Program invites our fellows to do the intentional soul and heart work of healing, coupled with developing the executive leadership skills to accelerate their impact for the children and the communities of color they serve. Our communities need our leaders to show up authentically, to be comfortable in their own skin as leaders of color, overcoming any limiting beliefs that are hindering their ability to shed mask, overcome doubt, and show up in their true genius and full power. Knowing the landscape is about the capacity of our fellows to understand the complexity of highly politicized and inequitable educational landscapes in which they lead. Fellows must also understand that the systems of education and equity are part of historical policies and practices that need to be examined and changed. Fellows must have the skills to identify root causes of problems and also must have the discernment to respond strategically to the complexities they encounter. And lastly, the Surge Fellowship Program invites our fellows to do the And lastly, it also helps them to understand what it means to make an impact. That it's not enough to dream big, focus inward, and know the landscape, but they have to take all of that and work with others to drive change. Reimagine what is possible for youth, families, and communities of color, including ourselves. So during the fellowship, they develop their executive management and leadership skills in order to build collectively the world in which they want to live.
The Academy is a life-changing experience that will help you to elevate your vision for yourself and the impact that you can have on young people in the city. We hold monthly sessions over the course of a really intensive 6-month fellowship period that will help you to elevate your vision for yourself and the individual and collective impact that you hope to make in transforming education to better serve youth, families, and communities of color. We begin the experience in Indianapolis in September and fellowship through March. Together with our larger community of Surge faculty and executive coaches, we learn with and from each other about living authentically and with purpose and leading with integrity and toward equity. We help you to develop the executive skills needed to be successful executive level leaders, including negotiation skills, financial management, change leadership, and the ability to connect and compel others. We build knowledge about historical and current issues in education and engage in thoughtful dialogue and debate about the complexities of navigating the macro level system. Equally important, we also take deep and personal discussions and content on what it means to be a person of color in this work, leading for equity within systems of structural, institutional, and interpersonal racism. We engage deeply with local and national aspirational leaders of color who offer guidance and insight into the joys and struggles of leading and living with authenticity and integrity. As leaders of color, we need to claim our unique and important perspectives. We need to understand how our stories and strengths make us supremely qualified to lead transformational change in community and solidarity with others. We also need to see where we need to heal from the impact of racism in our lives. the fellowship provides a sanctuary and space for individual and collective healing and transformation. In addition to what we do, it is important to mention the family that you will do it with. A unique and important aspect of the fellowship is the cohort experience. You will embark on this journey of transformation with a set of like-minded, highly talented, and committed individuals who eventually will become like family. You will build and collaborate with these individuals who work across various sectors, learning from them about their work and finding ways to connect your passions and talents with theirs. If change throughout Indianapolis is to happen, it will not happen with people working in silos. Collaboration across sectors is critical, and in the fellowship, you will begin to build a family that will help push you to be better and who will help support you to get the job done, and you will do the same for and with them. So here's what fellows have to do to make all of this happen and to get the most out of the experience. This is what we expect of fellows. Attendance at all sessions is super critical. There is no substitute or replacement for being at session. In addition, this is a cohort experience, and each fellow's presence matters to their fellow cohort members and to us. Monthly session days are 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Opening and closing retreats are 2.5 days. We ask you and your supervisor to sign a memorandum of understanding as part of your application to ensure that you can be present for all of this time. Heart, soul, and mind. This program is about doing the internal soul and heart work of healing, coupled with developing your executive leadership skills. When fellows bring their whole selves to the experience, the impact is transformational. Humility, transparency, and authenticity. We will work to shed the mask that we've been conditioned to wear as people of color living under white supremacy, get real about our experiences, and stand in our true power. We also understand that we will have a lot to learn from each other and from leaders in the community. Excellence in preparation and engagement. Fellows get out of it what they put into it, and each session requires preparation in order for fellows to maximize their experience. This cannot be understated. When you are in the fellowship, there's a lot going on at work and in your personal life, and finding time and energy for pre-work can be challenging, but it is not impossible. I want to be honest and upfront about that. Commitment to growth and transformation. We hear time and time again that the fellowship is a life-changing experience. Each fellow comes to the fellowship because they are on a journey of learning and living into their purpose, of remembering and returning home to themselves. Own your experience. Fellows help us to co-create this program by taking responsibility for themselves, communicating their needs, giving us feedback, and being solutions-oriented. Advocate for Surge and build the network. We are building this movement together. That's really all that we can say about that. Loving support, fun, and laughter. We work hard and we play hard. We make sure to find time for joy and celebration in the midst of rolling up our sleeves to do the work.
Thanks, Noemi. We at Surge view our work first and foremost as relational and not transactional. Trust and reciprocity are critical to being in relationship with one another. And we ask a lot, but we also give a lot. And we are transformed in our journeys alongside our fellows and our alum. So, one, radical honesty. We work to create a space where everyone can be their authentic selves and speak and stand in their truth. Powerful learning community. We actively seek to break down the silos that are grounded in dominant values of individualism and competition. We know that we are powerful when we work and learn collectively. Culture of feedback. Oftentimes we, as people of color, aren't provided with feedback that enables our professional growth. You'll get it here. At Surge, we believe that feedback is love. Aspirational leaders of color. Local and national leaders not only present executive skill content, but have frank conversations on what it's like to be a leader of color, the challenges, and the successes. Opportunity to grow your personal and professional network. All of the search faculty and staff are now part of your network. There's a growing network of fellowship alum across the country, transforming education in Chicago, Oakland, Kansas City, and now Indianapolis. Develop executive leadership skills through experts and coaching. Fellows get 24 hours of coaching from February of the fellowship year through the following January. Access to capital and power to develop new solutions. Through your expanded network, you have access to influential leaders, funders, and others who are working together toward innovation, equity-focused interventions, and solutions. And lastly, safe space to be vulnerable. We create a people of color-centered space where you can be yourself and take risk in a safe, supportive community, and where your journey and the challenge you faced, your origin, your original story, it seems as one of the greatest assets. So as you can see, the fellowship offers a tremendous opportunity for personal growth. You will also participate in a 360-degree feedback review process to identify your strengths in areas in which you can build. And as you mentioned, you will be partnered with, or as mentioned, you will be partnered with an executive coach for 5 months who will help you improve in the areas where you wish to improve, but more importantly, help you to leverage your natural gifts and talents in the best ways possible. You also get the opportunity to apply what you've learned to the design and execution of a Freedom's Dreams project. This is an opportunity to identify a unique problem that you are positioned to act on, design a solution or intervention that addresses the root cause of the problem, and begin executing your project during the fellowship. In the end, if you engage fully by using the knowledge that is shared with you, and you are open to the opportunities, there is no limit to personal growth that can result from participating in the fellowship. So, at this point, you may be asking yourself, am I ready to accept the charge and great responsibility that comes along with increased leadership and service? Is this fellowship for me? When we think about who we're looking for in fellows, one phrase comes to mind. That's right. The sum of it, or that sums it up in a way, in a lot of ways, but we need leaders who care deeply about youth and are willing to do the work as a community that leads to impact and transformation and revolution. But I'm sure you also want to know, the more defined criteria.
So for the fellowship, we have outlined 5 specific criteria. If for any reason you do not fit into any one of these in particular, please do not use that as a reason to not apply. Please contact us and we can talk about your application and criteria. A little more about the expectations. In addition to having those qualifications, it is critical that we share upfront what will be required of those who are admitted to the Surge Academy. All fellows, as has already been mentioned, must attend every single session. It is a full day, once a month. You are expected to be present for the entire time. That also means you should not be expected to take phone calls or meetings during the time of the session. You are expected to be prepared to do all of the work. So you must engage fully by doing all of the pre-work, coming prepared, having done all the readings, all of the assignments, and ensuring that you really are ready to participate in the dialogue that your presenters and that your fellow cohort mates are present for. You'll need to actually have your supervisor sign the memorandum of understanding that clearly articulates that you will not be present at work on that Friday session, nor for the 2.5 days of the opening and closing retreats. That memorandum of understanding is a critical part of your application. And as we've said several times, you do have to show up And what this really means is that we want you to fully participate. Bring your full self so that others can feel ready and wanting to bring their full selves as well. More specifically, the application is available online at our website. On the website, you'll be directed to a different launch page that will have the actual application available for you. When you go to the online application, you'll input your personal and professional information. This includes professional experience, educational background, volunteer experience. You'll be asked to upload your resume, as well as respond to 4 essay questions that ask you to speak to your understanding of the education landscape, your understanding of yourself as a leader, and the impact that you are trying to make, and your vision for transforming education to best serve youth, families, and communities of color. You'll also be expected to submit 2 letters of recommendation. They're not actual letters, they are a survey with additional questions, open-ended questions that your recommenders will need to complete. They will need to complete it as a Word document, so it will feel like a letter, but it is not. What we ask is that one of those letters of recommendation be from your current supervisor and one for a personal recommendation. If you do not currently have a supervisor, please, again, contact us directly so that we can give you more guidance around who that letter of recommendation should come from. As I've already mentioned, you will also need to be sure to sign and have your supervisor sign the memorandum of understanding, which then also is uploaded into the system itself. If you run into any issues submitting any of these documents, again, please contact us via email at academy@surgeinstitute.org. To read more about the application process, we do recommend that you download the application guide from the website. We want to emphasize that putting together a competitive application takes time, so please plan accordingly. The online application is already available for you and must be submitted by 11:59 p.m. on July 17th. And with that, we are at the end of our presentation. As we wrap up here, I want to encourage you to stay in contact with us during this time. We have several virtual events that we'll be hosting, all of which are listed on our website. Also, if you want to connect with a fellow or an alum of the Surge Academy, please contact us or attend one of those virtual events where we will have current fellows of the Kansas City Academy as well as Surge alum present in each of those sessions. You are also welcome to email us at academy@surgeinstitute.org and ask for a time to talk with me, the program director, and ask very specific questions or just work through the application if that is a helpful start for you. And then finally, as I said, the application is available online, so please start your application. It's helpful to see what all is expected of you and to begin the process. That is our presentation. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope to meet you soon.
Thanks, everybody. Hope to see you soon.